gonna sit next to the coach.
Okay. Good evening and welcome to the Cemetery Brook Drain Tunnel Combined Sewer Overflow Program public meeting. My name is Fred McNeil. I'm Chief Engineer of the City of Manchester's Environmental Protection Division. And tonight I'm going to share with you one of the largest civil engineering projects the city will ever undertake. First, I'm going to do some introductions and talk about the CSO program and the project background. And then we're going to talk specifically about the Cemetery Brook Drainage Tunnel. I'll talk about the impacts to the community and the schedule, and then we'll be glad to take any questions. So this project is federally mandated by the EPA. Well, let me go back a little bit. Let me finish introductions. This project is being managed by the Environmental Protection Division. We're a division of the Department of Public Works, the City of Manchester, and we're actually the city's wastewater utility. Our consultant for this project is CDM Smith. They'll be the engineer for this project, and they are designing the tunnel. We're also working with the Department of Environmental Services, the state's regulatory agency, for all of this work. So first, a big picture. What is a combined sewer overflow, and why are we doing all this work? Well, what happened, standard construction standards, from the late 1800s all the way up to the 1950s, was to build one pipe in the ground to convey both stormwater and wastewater. And that's what you see down below on the left one. And that's fine to service both sewage and drainage during dry weather. But during wet weather, what happens is all the rain comes into a pipe and all the water exceeds the capacity of the pipe. Therefore, they built outfalls to the river, as you see in the example on the right. These outfalls discharge a combined sewage and drainage. So the EPA, as part of the Clean Water Act, amended it in the 1990s to address CSOs all over the country. And that's what we'll be addressing with the Cemetery Brook Drain Tunnel. As I mentioned, a little bit of the history of CSOs in Manchester. 1994, the Federal Clean Water Act put out their CSO Control Policy. This is to improve the water quality of the Merrimack River. As we all know, the Merrimack River is really an economic lifeline for the city of Manchester. Our mills were built next to it. All of our industry is still next to it. Now all of our high tech is next to it. So again, it's all about improving water quality in the Merrimack River. And I also remind people that people use the Merrimack River as the drinking water source. Downstream from the city of Manchester, over 500,000 people take their drinking water from the Merrimack River. So water quality is critical. In 1999, we started our work. We signed a consent order with EPA. That is a legal document requiring us to perform this work. And what we negotiated was two phases. First, we're going to do the west side of the Merrimack River. Then we jump over and do the east side of the Merrimack River. So phase one on the west side was from 1999 to 2009, a $58 million investment by the city of Manchester, and a success by any statistical measurement. We put 53 miles of newer rehab pipe. We upgraded 25 miles of roads. We reduced CSO discharges by 99%. This was really a full infrastructure upgrade for the west side. Not only did they get a new drainage system, the sewage system was upgraded. They got new gas, they got new water, they got new roadways, new sidewalks, new curbings. A success. And again, addressing many things: environmental justice, public education, and health. Now we're moving over to the east side of the Merrimack River. This is a $300 million program. Again, one of the largest civil engineering projects the city will ever undertake. We've been very successful so far. We started in the Chestnut Street area. From 2013 through 2016, we invested about $40 million. We went from Chestnut Street, from right out here on Valley Street, all the way north to Bridge Street, and put in a new main drainage system for the city of Manchester. And just like the east side, we followed that model and provided a full infrastructure upgrade. Once again, new water, new gas, new curbing, new sidewalks, new roadways, really urban revitalization that's so desperately needed in the city. Now we go on to what we are doing now. First one is Christian Brook Drain. That construction is actually ongoing. If our residents go to North Street now, they'll see a major civil engineering project. We have just started construction this year of a 5-year program, investing about $30 million, again, building a new drainage system to separate our wastewater from our stormwater. But really the crown jewel of all of our phase 2 work here on the east side is the Cemetery Brook Drain. And we'll talk about that in more detail. Cemetery Brook Drain Tunnel. This is going to be a tunnel that's going to be almost 2 miles long, 12 feet in diameter, 30 to 80 feet below grade. As I said, one of the largest civil engineering projects the city will ever undertake. You see along the line is a number of designations, DS. Those are drop shafts. That's really the only place the public will be seeing this tunnel, is at these drop shaft locations. And we have 7 of them along the 2+ mile length of this new tunnel. We call this a profile view, and this just shows you how deep this tunnel is going to be. It's going to start just south of the Queen City Bridge at the Merrimack River, work its way under Queen City Ave, up to the intersection of Silly, Willow, and the old railroad bed. And then we follow the old railroad bed all the way to Mammoth Road. As you can see, our maximum depth is going to be 80 feet deep. And we are using a tunnel boring machine or tunnel construction. Again, you can see from the machine there, that's going to be much greater than the 12-foot diameter. And we put that in, again, right in the Merrimack River, and that's going to stay in the ground for 2 miles all the way, digging through that rock underground, 30 to 80 feet deep, constructing our tunnel. And you can see the different type of soils we'll be going through. I'm sure you can appreciate all of those. Construction work sites. As I mentioned earlier, really the only places the public are going to see us at these various drop shaft sites. But I will note that these drop shaft sites will be major construction sites, because we're going to be digging down, again, the 30 to 80 feet deep to reach the tunnel and connect it. And there's 2 important things with these drop shafts. There'll be one, letting the water in, and just as importantly, letting the air out of the tunnel. So these are the areas that the general public will see Cemetery Brook Drain Tunnel Project. The reason we chose a tunnel, even though it's a more expensive option, is really for our residents. Number one, it mitigates a lot of construction-related impacts, traffic, noise, pollution, and a big one was utilities. If we were to construct this in a conventional manner, every utility in the street, that's electric, that's water, that's gas, that's drainage, that's sewage, we'd have to replace. It really made it cost prohibitive. Also, with cuts of this depth, we'd lose most of the road. There'd be detours for all our residents and impacts to our local businesses. So working with our engineer, we spent 2.5 years studying this project and determined in the long run the most cost-effective approach. The best approach for the residents of Manchester is to have a tunnel. Once the tunnel is constructed, and you can see on our schedule up here, we show design ongoing and construction from 2024 to 2027. After that, we have to make all of our connections to these tunnels. And we're going to do what we call separate various areas. So we have contract 8 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13, which are all separation contracts. So along the tunnel route, we're going to come back and essentially build new drainage systems for all of these areas. But again, following the success we had on the east side of the Merrimack River, following the success we had on Chestnut Street, we are looking at urban revitalization for all of these areas. So when we go into your neighborhood, we're not only going to build a new drainage system, we're going to repair any requirements within the sewer system, update the water system, update the gas, again, curbing, roadways, sidewalks. We really see this as an opportunity in the city to leverage all this work we're doing to our benefit. This shows physically where the separation contracts are. They start in the year 2027, and they stretch all the way out, believe it or not, to 2039. Again, the size and scope of this project is one of the largest the city will ever see. Over $300 million we're investing into improving the water quality of the Merrimack River and upgrading our city's infrastructure for the next 100 years. With that, I'd be happy to take any questions from the audience.
If I'm not mistaken, I think the city of Nashville chose to treat, not separate, right?
That is correct.
Yeah, I understand. I'm sure your decision was based on sound engineering, but in general, why wasn't it feasible in Manchester?
Well, there's a few things with treatment. Treatment requires mechanical equipment. Treatment requires chemicals. Treatment requires staff to man all of these. And then you have reoccurring cost all the time. All of this is going to be gravity flow. And actually, I shared with you earlier about the Sheffield pump station we wanted to eliminate. That's the same premise. If the city of Manchester can make anything gravity flow, that's a long-term, in our long-term best interest. And again, with changing regulations, that level of treatment may change. And so again, that could change whatever they need, what Nashua is doing. And Nashua is also doing storage. So they have a storage area, but they have to treat that and disinfect that. So we did evaluate that as an option and determine that separation. And actually that decision was really made way back in the 90s when we started the west side. And we were so successful with that, we carried that philosophy to the east side.
But will it, after the project's complete, the contract complete, will there be remaining combined systems in the city?
Yes, there are several remaining combined systems. So believe it or not, there is a phase 3 that will start in 2040. I don't know how many people in the room will still be here 2040, but yes, there are plans. And then even after that, there's going to be combined areas. Not to get too technical, but what we're designing to is what we call a level of control in the Merrimack River. How often is it acceptable to discharge this? And that means we don't have to separate every corner of the city. If we get all of the large areas, we meet that level of control that EPA requires by regulations.
But there will be CSOs after 2040 then?
Well, hopefully not. If there are, they'll be minimal.
The treatment plant will be able to handle it hydraulically.
Yes, yeah. Well, what actually happens, again, not to get too technical, but the treatment plant currently gets all of the stormwater now. So once we separate that, the stormwater is going to go to the Merrimack River, and that's actually going to give us additional capacity at the plant. Because currently we treat roughly 20% of the flows that come to the wastewater treatment plant is clean drainage. So unfortunately, our customers are paying for labor, they're paying for equipment, they're paying for chemicals, they're paying for electricity to treat clean water. So that's one of the reasons we went separation, was to remove that from the treatment plant. Sir, any questions for you? Does it impact you at all?
Yes, please.
I hate to see the magnifying. I use that too many times, yes.
Even with my glasses.
Yeah.
My name is Chuck Wilder. I live right next to Queen City Avenue, dead end, Caleb Road. So I was very concerned about what this was going to entail, since Caleb Road, putting that in, took half the property.
Yeah.
Took the side of the property, and I didn't know if there was going to be more consequences currently, we're not really gonna see this either.
What you're gonna see is a lot of truck traffic coming up the hill there, near, what do we call that factory that we have there? Nicola, yes. You know, up the hill there, a lot of truck traffic, but no construction traffic will be impacting you. What will impact you is when we come back and do separation, sir, and let me go back. And so you can see down here, we'll come back in this area, but I don't think we're gonna be hitting you. We're coming right down Brown Ave, and we'll be doing work in those areas.
Because Brown Avenue becomes Caleb Road.
South of,
I'm
yes,
right at, I'm right at the dead end of Queen City
yes.
Avenue.
Fred, maybe you can point out where the staging area would be and how.
Yeah, what's the closest staging area for?
Well, our staging area is actually going to be this area right under here.
So the truck traffic is only limited to.
Yeah.
Queen City Avenue, which is.
Yeah.
limited.
Well, that's the noisiest drive strip in the entire city anyway. More truck traffic will slow down motorcycles, showing off how much noise they can make. So I favor more truck traffic.
Well, they just opened, the city just paved the second lane of the bridge there, so that is open now finally.
Yeah, we've been waiting years for that, 2 years actually.
Yeah.
So, okay, this, basically, you've relieved my primary concerns. And you do say that they're also going to be doing other work on the surface, curbs.
Yeah, so, yes, yeah.
And so on. Is that going to be in the entire covered areas?
In general, in those colored areas, there'll be new utilities and new roadways, that is correct.
Big that.
Yeah. No, it's really a great opportunity for the city to leverage this money that we're federally required to spend to really give us an infrastructure upgrade for the next 100 years. And again, to digress a little bit, the city of Manchester, believe it or not, has over 1,000 miles of pipe in our city streets that we own between water, sewer, and drain. About 20% of that, 200 miles, is over 100 years old. So that could fail at any time. And so we're really being proactive going in and replacing all these utilities. As I said, hopefully give us an infrastructure upgrade for the next 100 years.
All sounds great.
Well, thank you, we appreciate the support. Any other questions? And to our viewing audience, again, my name is Fred McNeil, City of Manchester, EPD. Please go to our website. Any questions, we'll be happy to address them with you. Thank you for your time.